What are some popular trends that you should be incorporating in your designs right now? Also, what should you be designing during the month of February? I will be going over some popular trends that you should really consider incorporating into your designs. And also, I'm going to talk about what we should be designing right now to get ready for the next couple of months. I'm also going to finally go over how I ended Q4 in November and December. And I'm also going to talk about January and how 2025 has started out. Hey everyone, welcome back to No Friend Left Behind, where you will find myself, Laneta, Simply Shauna, Shay, and Mike, with some cameos from my husband Manny and maybe Bully and Tucker. And we're here to share our Etsy journey with you guys, bring you guys along and build a community together, working things out so that we can build our Etsy business the way we want to. Before I get into just a couple of the trends that I think that you should be incorporating into your designs for any of the upcoming niches that you are designing, I want to go over my stats with you guys. So finally, we're going to go over how I finished Q4. We're going to discuss how November went, and we're going to discuss how December went. Did I do bad? Did I increase? Did I decrease my orders? What's been going on? So far from what we've seen in my year of 2024 is that I have increased every month, and there was even a month where I was able to completely double my month. Let's finish looking at 2024 these last couple of months, and let's see how it went. Let's first take a look at what my month of November 2023 did, so then we can compare it to November of this past year, 2024. So for November 2023, I had a total of 3,732 visits. I had a total of 60 orders, which I remember 2023, November was one of my biggest months with, I believe, March of 2023. So 60 orders, a conversion rate of 1.6%, and a total revenue of $5,182.59. Now, revenue is not profit. That's not what I took home, but that is the money that came in from the orders. Okay. So for November of 2024, I had a total of 4,824 visits, which for the whole year, the visits have actually decreased in comparison to the year 2023. So I'm actually surprised that for November, I mean, it is Christmas time, it is fourth quarter, so I guess there's, just naturally more people looking. But because the trend of less visits went on throughout the year, I am a little surprised that it increased by 29%. But what I'm super excited about is that I had a total of 113 orders. I almost doubled November. I had 60 orders the year before. I had a total of 113 orders this year, which is a total increase of 88% in comparison to the previous month. Then my conversion rate was 2.3%, which was a 45.7% increase in comparison to the previous year. And my revenue was $8,181.87, which is a 58% increase in comparison to November 2023. So overall, every single aspect of my stats increased. The thing that I was most excited about was definitely the almost double. I remember seeing the last few days and just hoping that I would just get a couple more orders from each one, so that I could get to that 120 orders that I would have needed for it to have been, because 60, that would have been doubled, So I was really excited and looking for 120, but I only missed it by 7 orders. That's okay. I almost doubled November. That made me super excited. Now let's take a look at December 2023 to see how we did December 2024. Okay. So December 2023, I had a total of 3,745 visits. I had a total of 40 orders, a conversion rate of 1.1%, and a total revenue of $2,745.29. Not bad for 2023, definitely better than the previous year. You'll see here the percent increases being just like astronomical because I barely had anything the year before. So 2023 was really, really a good year. 40 orders doesn't seem like a lot, but in comparison to what I was doing the previous years, it was really, really good. So let's see how this past December went. So for December 2024, I had a total of 3,622 visits, which came back to the trend of decreasing, but only by 3%. So that's not too bad. I had a total of 85 orders. I more than doubled December. 85 orders may not seem like a lot, and it's not in comparison. Like if you're looking at some of these six-figure sellers, yeah, 85 orders is not a lot. But when I went from almost doubling November to then more than doubling my orders in December, I'm going steadily. No journey is completely linear, but I am steadily increasing every single month in comparison to the previous year. If I keep doing the things that I'm doing, and if I had more time to input even more design and more research and listen to more content and do I can't imagine where I could be this coming year at the end of 2025. But I'm hoping that the trend continues every month going forward. So I'm super excited to see that was 113% increase in comparison to the previous year. My conversion rate was a 2.3%, which was a 119.7% increase in comparison to the previous year. And my revenue was $5,911.50, which was a 115% increase in comparison to the previous year. So across the board, other than visits for the month of December, I more than doubled in every other category: orders, conversion rate, and revenue. Super excited about how December went. It went better than I even expected because especially, once we get closer to the actual holiday of Christmas, it starts to go down. But I had pretty regular sales. The end was definitely less, but I was super excited about December. And I don't think that until this very moment, looking at that graph, truly understood. So maybe that's why I seem extra excited, because I was taking screenshots of these to prepare for this video and get these things. And I saw that I increased, but I think it wasn't until this very moment that I read it to you guys and was able to differentiate between the previous year and what the percent increase was and all of that. I don't think I realized actually that I more than doubled in all three categories until this very moment. So I'm a little extra excited. So how's 2025 going? How did January end? So let's look at January. A little weird because we were just going over 2023, but we'll be going over January 2024 to see now for 2025. It's crazy that it's 2025 already. So for January 2024, I had a total of 3,273 visits. I had a total of 36 orders. It's crazy to see that it's a 1,700% increase. You can see how much I really did not sell in 2023, and let alone 2022. But conversion rate was 1.1%, which was a 275.6% increase. And revenue was $3,264.82, which was a 5,902% increase. That's just insane to me. How much more traffic in 1 year, from getting nothing, that a shop could have. Okay, so January 2025, how did I do? We're starting back with that trend of a decrease in visits. We had 2,779 visits, which was a 15% decrease in comparison to the previous January. Now, I did have an increase of 36% with a total of 49 orders. My conversion rate went up to 1.8%, which is a 60.3% increase. And my revenue was $3,556 with 19 cents, but that was actually only increased by 9%. So even though I had more orders, maybe I had more single shirt orders for January. And so maybe that's why it's not a huge difference in comparison to the previous year what the revenue was, even though I had a decent amount of orders in comparison to the previous year, a decent amount more, not double, so not there yet, but it still increased. And when I was doing we talked about it in the live, how me and Shay were doing a batching session with Shauna. Shauna was talking to us about making sure that we track our months and track all the previous year. And what you want to see, you always, even if it's just 2 orders, even if it's just a slight change in the numbers, you always want to see an increase month to month in comparison to year. So January 2022, January 2023, January 2024, January 2025. Is each year it going up? That's what I want to see. I want to see a trend that every year it's increasing, because if I keep doing the things that I'm doing and maybe even implementing better things, then I should continue to see it grow. And that's the whole idea of all of this, is that we want to see growth. We want to see ourselves scaling our business and our shop and just continue to flourish with all of this. So what I am seeing is every year I implement different things. I implement better things. I'm working more on it. I'm dedicated into doing the right things so that I can bring out better designs, better research behind my designs, so that I can continue seeing that growth. And it's showing. Even if it's only 2 orders, even if it's only 5 orders, or if it's 100 orders more, that's what we want to continue to see, is just continuing to see a growth pattern. And that's what I'm seeing so far between 2023 to 2024 and then 2024 to 25. So very excited about how 2025 is starting and how 2024 ended. I get overwhelmed, okay? So I look at all the different things, all the different niches that I could potentially be designing in, and I can get overwhelmed. So I like to at least get 2 or 3 things that I can start incorporating, aside from the batching technique that we've discussed, that we should start implementing in all of our weeks of designing, so that we can shell out the most unique, market researched designs that add value to the market. So I'm only going to give you guys a couple of trends that I keep seeing around and I think would be very beneficial in some of the upcoming niches to design in, and incorporating them into those would be something that hopefully and potentially could be very profitable for you. It's something that I'm going to start incorporating into some of my designs and into what I will be designing for February, which I'll discuss after the trends. So as we are just entering February, what are some key trends that we could start focusing on? One thing that I keep seeing everywhere is flower pattern letters, where inside the letters there are flower patterns. One that I actually keep seeing, and maybe they're separate, but to me they look very similar. To me they go together like in the same category as like flower pattern, but I'm seeing like these clear, transparent, very coquette style where they look like lace. It looks like very clear, light white lace within the lettering. But then there's also lettering that has very detailed and colorful flowers in the background. And the reason I mention this trend that seems to be popping up a lot, and I'm seeing it when I've been doing some batching tabs and having some search like for mom shirts up, and I'm seeing it a lot for mom. So what's another trend to start designing in, especially with the upcoming months? Mommy and me. Mommy and me shirts are super, super, super important right now. What Shauna has always told us is that Mother's Day could be like a second mini Christmas. I don't believe that it is necessarily as huge as fourth quarter potentially could be for people because of the holidays, but I have never tapped into the Mother's Day niche. I've tried. I've put some things in and I've put some designs out. Very few things have worked out or have done well. I haven't tapped into it. I really wish that I can, and maybe this year I'll get a little bit more into it, but I haven't gotten into it. But Mother's Day can be huge for people. So the flower lettering is something that could be very profitable adding it not just into the mom niche, but putting it into other niches. If you're doing professions, if you're doing, let me see, something else we have coming up, Easter. I think teacher niche. I think we could bring it into a lot of different things, but especially with Mother's Day coming up, the mommy and me. Mommy and me, where they kind of play off each other or maybe have like similar wording, mommy and Minnie. So far, this floral, very kind of like collegiate lettering I'm seeing also within the pattern being inside of the lettering. But that lace one, now that one doesn't necessarily seem like it's collegiate, some of the ones that I'm seeing, but it looks very pretty. Very like it's trying to give that illusion of kind of like see-through, just kind of like an overlay, and sometimes it has a bow on it. That's why it reminds me a lot of like that coquette theme that I think would go really well with. Then the next trend I would say would be the checkered pattern. The checkered pattern, I'm sure that you've heard other people talk about it if they've talked about designs and trends, including Shauna. Shauna is constantly telling us about the checkered pattern. She's been telling us since last year. The checkered pattern is something that's very popular right now, and I'm also seeing it in examples that you can add the checkered pattern to any design and any niche that you're designing, but I am seeing it also in Mommy and Me, where they have it with this heart in the background, and the heart is a checkered pattern, and then it says the Mom and Minnie. So right there, you're putting two trends together. You're putting the Mommy and Me trend with the checkered pattern together. See, that's where you start to add more value to the market, because now we're combining things and whether it be trends and niches together to create something that isn't really out there. Now we're seeing it in Mommy and Minnie. What if we use that checkered heart print and use it in a couple's shirt for like a pregnancy announcement? So maybe that's something that hasn't been put out there. The checkered print is something that I think is really easily that you can add to a lot of things. If we can tap into some of these trends, especially for the upcoming months, we'll be ahead of the game for the next couple of months. And we should have some good upcoming months if we start incorporating some of those things. So this goes hand in hand with what we should be designing in February. Now, if you didn't know what we should be designing in February, or you weren't sure, or you were a little bit lost, as I get sometimes, I got you. What are a couple of things that we should be designing for? Well, something that's coming up is Easter. Right there, I discussed in one of the trends, those floral letterings with the floral in the background. Easter would be a great time to set up shirts, whether it be family shirts, group shirts, single shirts, Mommy and Me Easter shirts, anything. That floral lettering with like spring florals, wildflowers, or even that lace coquette design would go, it would be very delicate, very, very pretty to incorporate it into the Easter niche. Another niche that you can be designing in right now, I already mentioned it, Mother's Day. Mother's Day is huge. If you're somebody that's been in Mother's Day niche before and tend to sell a lot in it, great. Add more. Always add more to what you're seeing sales come through in your shop. And if you haven't, take a stab at it. I've sold maybe a handful of things. I have not sold a lot of things on Mother's Day. I have not been able, even though I feel like last year I put a decent amount of things in that were kind of like Mommy and Me, Mother's Day type of theme. I did not break into that Mother's Day niche, but I think that go for it and take a stab. So you want to start ahead of time. You want to start a few months before so that it has time to get into the algorithm and be shown and be out there. We have more potential to sell in those niches the earlier we get it in. If you're still working on St. Patrick's Day, get your last bit of St. Patrick's Day stuff out. I would design for the next couple of weeks and then that's it, because then it just wouldn't have enough time to really get into the Etsy algorithm. And so if you have anything that you have left, or you have kind of like in the waiting room just to like finish setting up and put up on a mock-up and design, go ahead and do it. Put your last bits of St. Patrick's Day. There are probably a couple more things that we can be designing in, but the next thing that I would say is an evergreen niche of your choosing. So I am trying to break into the bachelorette niche. I'm going to try to do batching sessions in these next couple of weeks of bachelorette, so I can try to push out as many bachelorette themed designs out and group listings, which is the majority of what I do. And I'm also going to start trying to get into Easter. Easter is another one that I don't think that I've ever really sold in it. Easter's not one that I've gotten into either. So I would like to try to put some other things out there. The other trend that I didn't necessarily mention, but I mentioned it in my last video, that I would incorporate also, because I've been seeing it a lot in some Easter PNG like designs, the brush stroke. The brushstroke design is very popular. It's showing more and more in all different niches when I've done research. So continue incorporating the brushstroke design, whether it be with font, like the lettering that you use, or the actual designs that have the brushstroke. But the reason I mention it is because I've been seeing it in some of the Easter designs as well. And so I'm sure that that would be something that could potentially be a hit for you. Every time I get a new sale from a new niche that I've tried to design in, I get really excited. There's something about putting in so much effort into new niches to try to break into them and then to finally sell, even if it's just once or twice. It just, I don't know, it gets me really excited that I potentially created something that added value to the market and people wanted. And so I sold. I don't know if anybody else feels like that, but I do. I would love to hear what the evergreen niches are that you guys are designing in and what you guys are planning on working on this next month of February that we're in. If some of the things that I said are things that you are designing, give a thumbs up. We're on the same track. Let's see if we can break into some of these new niches. That's really what I want to do this year. I really want to break into new niches and sell more in new niches. So that's a goal that I have. I really want to create some really cool designs that people start coming to my shop to purchase, to buy their shirts. So that's my goal, is really breaking into new niches. Okay, if you've made it this far, please, if you're not already a subscriber, subscribe to our channel. We would love to include you into our journey and have you along for this ride. Please boop the like button below and let us know your thoughts. Any questions you may have, we would love to hear from you. But again, I would love to hear what it is that you guys will be focusing on in February, and we can kind of keep each other accountable and see how we did when we're sharing this. We can see how we do in the next coming months and if we were able to accomplish some of the goals that we had. So please share down below. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this powerful quote. Today is the architect of your tomorrow. Build it with intention. And isn't that the exact mindset we need for our Etsy business and honestly, our lives? Every product we create, every strategy we test, and every effort we put in today is shaping the business we'll have in the future. If we approach our Etsy shops with intention, we're not just building a store, we're building a future of freedom, creativity, and success. And not just for our Etsy business, but for our lives. If we do things with intention and being present and really just diving into what it is we want our lives to be, we can create it. We are so much more powerful than we think we are. And we are so much more capable than sometimes our mind lets us think that we are. So let's move forward with intention and let's build the future that we're looking for, starting with our Etsy business that can help bring that for us. Let's make sure to continue to do everything that we do for our Etsy, but also for our lives, and let's do it with intention. Let's do it with purpose. I wanted to make sure to say to you guys, thank you so much for everyone that was able to join our lives and anybody that watched it afterwards. We had so much fun. Me and Sean on our first live, and then me, Mike, and Shay in the next live. We had a blast. And again, if you guys are interested, which I've already gotten some comments that you are, if you are interested in a series of cocktails and content, doesn't mean you have to drink, you could always do a mocktail, but cocktails and content where we do lives with you guys. What we're thinking is maybe preparing a recipe to send out to you guys so that you guys can join in on the same cocktail that we're joining, and we can have information for you guys. Again, the content part and we can interact more with you guys. And it might even be something that we start trying to do once a month if possible. So if you are interested in our cocktails and content series that we've been talking about for a few months, but we haven't started it yet. We want to see what you guys think. Please leave a comment down below that it's something that you would be interested in so that we can start planning that out and start that for you guys. So once again, thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have an amazing February full of cha-chings, and that the goals that you have for this month, you are able to achieve them, and that we continue to move going forward with intention. Till next time, guys. Bye.